Right, well, it says that it's 9 o'clock, so I'm going to go live at 9 o'clock and hang the consequences. This is me live at 9 o'clock. Hello, hello, hello from Sab in Paris to you in the rest of the world. Sab versus the rest of the world. Come on, get your jukes up. So I'll wait until a couple of people have come on. Here's one, so I just need one other person. Isn't it funny, the expression going live? I'm going live. As though we were somehow not live before. That's kind of weird, isn't it? So I'm drinking crap. I'm eating crap. I'm sleeping crap. And am I producing crap? I don't mean sort of physiological bodily functions. Creatively? That's a new word, creatively. Interesting. I should note that down. Am I creating crap? I don't know. I'm just creating the same stuff as usual. Created quite a lot this week, I think. In amongst running around, looking after my kid. And it was his birthday. So my son, Leo, is now 11. And I gave him a painting. I might actually be able to show you the painting that I gave him. If I can start sharing my screen. I might drop off or possibly die during the middle of this because I called this show No Sleep Till Sunday. Right? I could have called it No Sleep Till Santa or something like that. And I said that because I didn't actually sleep last night. I'll probably repeat that several times as people come on and say hello, just so that you know how tough this is for me. I haven't slept for a few hours and I didn't sleep last night. So I started working on something last night at around about, say hello by the way if you've come on. I've got a viewer. It's me and you, babe, or mister. So say hello and I won't be alone. And yeah, so I woke up. I didn't wake up. I stayed awake last night. So I started working on something in the evening, thinking I really ought to get on with this. I'll show you later. And it's quite a big thing. And then it was 11 o'clock, and then it was 1 o'clock, and I was still doing my thing. Then it was 3 o'clock. Then it was 5 o'clock, and I was thinking, it's going to get light soon. What's going on? Then it got light soon, and I thought, well, it's light. You don't go to bed when it's light, do you? Having said that, you do go to bed when it's dark, but I didn't. So I stayed up. So I haven't slept in an eternity. I was trying to do, say I got up at 9 yesterday, 9 in the morning. So that's 9 in the evening, that's 12. 9 the next morning, which I didn't sleep in, that's 24. Now it's 9, that's 36. I'm really good at maths. I can do 3 times 12. And I'm still going. And I'm considering not actually going to bed straight away after this either. You get into a kind of, it's like if you don't eat for long enough, you don't feel hungry anymore. I've kind of got that vibe going on. It's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. I finished my I didn't finish it because as soon as I sent my page, it's for my Paris retreats, sent it out to a couple of people for feedback. They damn well gave me feedback, didn't they? So now I've got to do some changes, which is fantastic. I mean, fantastic feedback, but some more work. Despina, hi sleepless Sab, hi sleepless Despina. But I think I'm a bit more sleepless than you because I didn't sleep last night at all. I just literally did not touch the bed. So I'm drinking crap. It's called Crazy Tiger in orange juice, which is actually just sort of concentrated sugar, artificial stuff, from concentrate. So it's crap. Yeah, this is energy drink here. They call it energy drink. It's not energy drink. It's sugar crap. Sugar dissolved in water. So in terms of food, crap week. Diet, crap week. Exercise, pretty crap week. And creativity, well, I created because that's what I do. It's just what I do. So whatever happens in other stuff. Did you drink any energy drink? Sorry, I was talking about that and I didn't show it to you viewers. Yeah, so but in terms of creativity, of course, I did my daily things. I did my daily photograph, did my daily writing. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏, what have you been up to? What would you say was the thing that you're most pleased with this week in terms of creativity? And have you got any questions about creativity or challenges with creating or producing? That's what I'd love to talk about. So here's something I created. Let me show you this. Now, so this thing here, you see? Can you see that? Actually, I could even show it to you bigger. Okay, there it is. Here you are. So it's got the 𝗏𝗏 logo there. It's got the I2C logo there, which stands for 𝗏𝗏 Connective. It's my other website for the paintings. And then you've got this certificate attests that the holder is the admirable adopter of Here You Are. You see it's green and blue? Here you are. An authentic, intriguing and utterly unique 𝗏𝗏 painting. Yeah! 𝗏𝗏 puzzle painting by 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Paris artist 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Wishing you infinite fun, and I sign it here. Sign it here. That's the date. There's the websites. And hello, I'm trying to get rid of something that you can't see. And that's the painting, you see. I actually put a picture of the painting there. So this is the certificate of authenticity. And I sent one to my son. I sent one to Leo. And I'll show it to you. I'll show you. Oh, God, what am I doing? Yeah, I'm tired, by the way. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 says, I just finished a drawing from a meditation I did. Can we see it somewhere? What am I doing? I can actually invite people on this, you know. Did you know that? I've never done it on these SABSANGs, but maybe I should do it one day. So I'm gonna, I'm supposed to be sharing this. Yeah, so I gave a painting to my son for his 11th birthday. It's the first time I've given him an 𝗏𝗏 painting. And I was pretty excited about that. He was sort of averagely interested. He was really excited to open it up because I wrap every single... That's poetry, what am I doing? I wrap every single little square of the painting up. The paintings, the little squares like this. I'll just talk to your comment in a minute, 𝗏𝗏𝗏. The little squares are like this, of course, as you know, probably. They're not always like this. They can be other colours and other. Always square. And I wrap them up when I send them to people. When people have adopted them, bought them, or I give them as presents, I wrap them up like this. And, whoops, hang on. And it might be the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 logo on it, or it might be a picture of me as a jigsaw man. And I send them off. If you adopt one, or if I give you one, I give a certificate like this. There's all sorts of crap coming up on my screen. I don't mean my paintings. I mean things like windows opening saying "click me." So I decided to do a certificate so that it's a certificate of authenticity, so people know it's a genuine one. Not that I think there's any others like them out there, but so it's this one I gave him. This one is still available where it says "Adopt Me," but I gave him one of the other ones because normally they should go to the streets of Paris or to sent out one by one to people who take the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 puzzle packs. So I've kept one for that, and I decided to sacrifice the Paris street one that was going to the streets of Paris, and give it to my boy, give it to my son. So I'm excited about that. So he's now got an official thing with a little easel, sits on the little easel. It's really cool. Yeah, so he's got that, and you can see it's pretty fun if you look at it. If I blow this one up, you can see all the details. Again, when I started it, I thought, what a piece of crap. Yeah, I saw you might look at it now and think, what a piece of crap. It is actually pieces of crap. There's some stuff that I found in the streets. Now you see this little red bit here. As I'm talking about this picture, I'll talk about this picture. You see this red bit here? This is part of the old Paris railway. It's a sleeper from underneath the rails of the old Paris railway. So that's exciting. That's new. That's a new thing. It's just these series. I've started putting them in. I'm so excited about that because people will have a piece of Paris, literally a piece of Paris history. And there's little round things, there's coins, there's jigsaw pieces, there's bits of wildlife, pine needles. There's you can hardly see it, it's like one of those helicopter things that goes brrrr when it falls from the trees. So I started this and I thought it was just white, and I put some blue and some green on. It looked absolutely awful. I thought, what a piece of crap. In fact, I almost always think that whenever I put any colour on anything. The only ones I don't think are a piece of crap is the ones that I paint completely in white, like these ones, before I put the colour in. Because it's not a piece of crap, it's white. Maybe it's white crap, I don't know. So I went through that phase. I went through this is crap phase. I don't know if you do that with your creativity. Do you have this is crap phases soon after you've started, or a little bit way in? And what that does is it stops you from carrying on. You give up, you get despondent, and then it goes on the shelf and it never gets finished. So I went through that. I pushed through. I added little bits. You see these little bits of red here? These tiny little flecks of red. I started adding those to try and move me forward. Such a tiny thing. It's like adding a word to a poem. I added these little flicks of red, flicks of red, just tiny touches here and there, inside sort of the jigsaw piece where there was a little bit of white showing. I just put a little bit of red. That gave me the idea, okay, let's do the other things in red. Let's paint the actual elements, or some of them, in red. I'll do my signature in red. Stands out really nicely from the blue and the green. But I had the red, I had the blue, I had the green. It was dull. This was a dull painting. So I thought, oh, I'm not going to put white on it. White's too sort of, doesn't look sophisticated enough. And then I thought, okay, let's go for a bright yellow. So I put a bright yellow on, and I put some words on. This is called Here You Are. Here you are. I'm always amused when you see a map and there's a dot and a sign saying here you are. It's telling you that you're here, and you're here. Where else would you be? Of course I'm here, but where is here? The map is supposed to tell you where here is. Anyway, that always makes me smile. So I did a series before called You Are Here, but this series I called Here You Are, and I took those three words and I varied them in three ways. So one of these says, here you are, exclamation mark. This is a question, are you here? With another arrow pointing to this round thing. And if you can think of another real sentence from those three words, it would be, you can't see it here because there's a bit on the corner in top left, bit in the corner top right, bit in the corner bottom right, bit in the corner bottom left. To find out what it is, you can either work it out. What's the other sentence you can make with the words are, you, and here? Here you are you here? And if you look at another version of this in the bottom right, you can see it. You are here, and that's the jigsaw piece. So that is it. Exactly the same painting. This you see that see where the round thing is up there, the jigsaw's there, the signature's there. That is the same painting as this one. I do always like to tell people that because my pictures have no beginning and no end. Kind of like life. Some people think that life is like that, don't they? Are you? Are you? Are you? So I'm really happy to finish that. I've sent one off to my son. I gave it to my son. One is going to be sent to you guys if you've adopted any of these pieces recently. I don't know which ones. And one is up for grabs. So this one here is available. The one that we're looking at actually is available. Beautiful texture, gorgeous colours, and really fun. This one has gone. Someone adopted this one, and someone adopted this one. So the white one has gone, and there are two others, except another one has gone, and another one is being sent out as in the packs. Okay, so that one there has gone. Pure white. I thought that was cool. And then the person who said, can I have one in pure white? I said, yeah, okay, why not? Because there's lots of texture. But then at the last minute, I just couldn't bear not to put any colour. So I put a little bit. And this one has gone. This one got snapped up really quickly, actually. Someone really liked it and went for it. And I don't blame them. There's words on this one: truth, beauty, and good. And I think 𝗏𝗏 aren't you looking at the same course as I'm doing? The one with, what's he called? 𝗏𝗏𝗚𝗏, is it? 𝗏𝗏𝗚 says, every Saturday I have a drawing lesson and I notice how much perfectionism I have hidden in me. That's an interesting sentence. I'm not sure if I understand it. How much perfectionism I have hidden in me. So you're thinking of perfectionism as a negative trait, like you're trying to be perfect and you're not satisfied with what you're doing. Is that what you mean? That's interesting. Yeah. So that's basically, you're saying it's a negative thing, right? You're not satisfied with what you've done, that sort of thing. Perfectionism and creativity clash is a good topic to discuss. Yeah, isn't it? You know, this is one of my big things, perfectionism. And some of you know, I think as time goes on and the years go on, if you find a thing that pleases you, like me talking about creativity and productivity, I notice some of the people that I enjoy listening to, they repeat the same damn thing, the same metaphors, the same anecdotes, the same stories again and again. And half the time I'm thinking, oh God, not that one again. And half the time I'm thinking, no, actually there's three halves. I'll probably forget the third half. One half is I'm thinking, oh, not that one again. The second half is I'm thinking, well, at least I'm remembering it. And then the third half is, you know what? He's only got about 3 metaphors and he's some successful guy. And that I find interesting because you only need about 3 metaphors. I'm not joking. There's this guy who's written, what is it? I hope he's not watching. But it's my show, isn't it? I can say what I like. It's this guy who wrote this and clarity, something about clarity. He's called Jamie Smart. And I follow him. I read his book. And I like what he says. He's got great stories and 1 or 2 annoying traits. Who hasn't? And he's got about 3 anecdotes that he repeats again and again and again. And to be honest, they're sinking in. They really are. I said one to you in one of your comments, 𝗏𝗏𝗚. I said one of his. You see, so there you go. Even if I've got one thing from him, his favourite thing is to say, even in thick fog, all you have to be able to do is see the next step ahead of you, 1 step ahead. Or if you're driving, as far as where the fog starts. And you can get the whole way by driving like that. You can get the whole way because as soon as you go a little bit ahead, you get more visibility into the fog. You go a bit further ahead, you can see a bit further into the fog. So you only need, the idea is, you only need to be able to see what your next step is and take it. And you'll get there, or you'll get somewhere. You might not know where, but you will get somewhere. And and I like that one. So, you know, I'm following him. I even pay him money to listen to him telling me the same saying again and again, week in, week out. And I think when I hear it coming again, I think, oh, okay. So the point of me saying that was, I'm thinking I'm getting like that. I'm actually developing. I keep on talking about the same thing, and I think that's not bad, because at least I'm getting used to talking about creativity and productivity, and I'll develop my core things that I say to people that I think help the most. And some will be adopted from other people, like that one, adopted from Jamie Smart. Some will be from other people. Some will be from 𝗏𝗏𝗚 or from anyone else who is watching. They say something cool, I'll try and remember it. And some will come from me, just literally from me. I've never heard them before. It occurs to me, seems like a cool thing. I'll put it into a meme or something. And there you go. So this thing about so this is coming back. It's finally coming full circle to what I was going to say based on your comment. And I'd actually forgotten the way I started saying that. So one of my favorite things to say is I have practically eliminated the words perfect, imperfect. What else is there? Comparison, failure and success from my vocabulary, from my personal dictionary. They're gone. The only time I refer to them is if someone else is using them and I think they shouldn't be. I think it's not doing them any good. And very many times it isn't. I hear it all the time. Perfectionism, like 𝗏𝗏 just used it. I talk to someone every week or every 2 weeks, sort of co-coaching type thing. She systematically comes out with it as though it's a thing. I don't believe it is a thing. Perfection isn't a thing. Because, well, what is it? What is perfection? It's some ideal, isn't it? It's either an ideal or it's believing it could be better than what we've done. And there's this other thing that's been coming up for me recently. Let me just go back to 𝗏𝗏 so this is a conversation. There are no 3 halves. Yes, sir, I just gave you 3 halves. Ah, my autism is kicking in. I often have 3 halves. Yeah, no, there absolutely can be 3 halves to a thing. Well, repetition is key to learning. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Absolutely. I mean, you want fresh stuff regularly, otherwise it would get boring and you would stop learning eventually. But I mean, there's enough stuff out there that there's plenty of fresh stuff. But the core ones, the ones that really resonate, that's one of those words, isn't it? Resonate. Well, they're the ones that do it for you. And maybe you don't need any more. Perfect, imperfect, comparison, success, failure. These are the words that either the words I think are dangerous words or what they represent is dangerous. I don't think comparison is a dangerous word as such. I think when we compare, it can be dangerous. Because we're not comparing like with like. We're not comparing 2 similar things. Even 2 human beings. They're not the same, are they? They're not the same. They haven't lived the same thing. So that's one of my things as well. I applaud. What I've been doing last night, all night, because I haven't slept. If you just joined me, by the way, do say hello if you haven't said hello yet. I'd love to know who you are and where you're from if I don't know you. And what you've created this week. That would be really nice. This show, it's called the Infinite Creativity SABSANG. SABSANG is just me sitting here talking about creativity and responding to any comments you make. And if you don't make comments, I get really bored and I just have to talk about my stuff. And I would love to know what you've created and also any challenges you've had in creating or producing. It's not exactly the same thing. So yeah, repetition. I'm responding to a question you can't see here. Oh, I've gone past that, haven't I? Yeah, repetition is key to learning. So something that's been coming up quite a lot for me recently as well. In a couple of different people or different books I've heard this. It's simply this idea of when you're born, if as adults we're worried about perfectionism and we think, oh God, this isn't good enough. Oh, I'm not going to show that to anybody. You know, as an adult, we're particularly prone to this. Especially with artistic things, we draw something, we paint, we dare to paint something, and we are immediately, in fact, we're pre-embarrassed. We're pre-embarrassed about it. Before we've even set, colour to paper, we've already got a good stock of embarrassment built up so that we're well armed to be, we've probably told people in advance it's going to be crap. All sorts of mechanisms going on there as adult. Kids don't do that, have you noticed? So adults think that what they do isn't perfect. But what about kids? Especially little kids, especially babies. How imperfect are babies? I mean, what's the definition of perfection? Is it that you've learned to do something and it couldn't be done better? Because that isn't babies, is it? So they're not perfect in that way. If we're going to say babies are perfect, they couldn't be any more perfect. A perfect little human being has just popped out. You could say they're perfect. You wouldn't say they're perfect if your definition of perfect is you can do something perfectly. Like, for example, a baby just out of the womb couldn't pick up a fork and probably stab its eye out or something. So in that way, it's not perfect. But that's not the definition of perfection that we normally are concerned with. Is there something wrong with you? And as long as a baby is healthy, it can't do anything except, I don't know, cry and poo or whatever. But we don't consider babies imperfect in general, do we? We consider them perfect little human beings. They couldn't be better. And even when they're trying to learn stuff, like walking or later on riding a bike. We don't think they're imperfect because they fall off a bike the first time they try it, or the first time they take that little step, staggering towards, every single adult in the room wants to be the one the baby who is just learning to walk goes towards. I mean, we're waiting for the baby to take two steps, stagger over, maybe grab our hands, and our day has been made. And then there's the talking. If a little kiddie, everybody wants, I mean, I see it all the time on the internet, for example, someone's so proud that the baby is now saying nana, nana, instead, or maybe, instead of mama or papa, is now saying nana, and she's so secretly pleased about that the kid is saying her pet name as opposed to her mum and dad's. So you notice the nana whose name is being said isn't jumping in and correcting her pronunciation, or preparing her first grammar lesson for how she will put nana into a sentence, sort of subject, then we'll need a verb, then we'll need the object, maybe a few prepositions of place or time or something like that. That's not really the point. Anything the baby does, anything is wonderful rather than nothing. Nothing would be the failure, wouldn't it? If the baby did nothing, didn't learn, didn't speak, didn't eat, didn't crawl, didn't poo, there'd be something wrong with it. So as long as a baby is being a normal baby, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And then a lot of adults think they're not perfect. And one of the questions you can ask these adults who think their stuff isn't perfect, or they aren't perfect. Hello, Karen, how are you doing tonight? Nice to see you there. And Teresa, hello Teresa, how are you doing? Seems like only yesterday that we were talking to each other. Oh, it was. We've got a bookworm here. I just checked the etymology of perfect. It comes from Latin, and it means completed. How did it evolve to mean flawless? Interesting question. Yeah, well, I don't know what your theory on that is, but we talk about a perfect circle, don't we? We don't mean that it's wonderful, it couldn't be better. Well, we do. These days we do. But in the sense of it being complete, it means the circle is complete. It's not broken. It's a perfect circle. This is not a perfect circle, and this is. So in that sense, maybe it's an older sense. So in the sense of a circle not being broken, we say that it's perfect. But then it takes on the sense of being flawless. No flaws, no gaps, it's not broken. So you can see how that sense has come from the other sense. And I mean, even in English teaching, we have tenses called the present perfect, the past perfect, the future perfect. It's not that, there's anything perfect about these tenses, or even the future, the past, or the present. Present imperfect or past imperfect is normally more closer to the truth. But it's not about the past perfect, isn't about the past being so incredibly wonderful. It's about it being finished. So that's the meaning. Most people don't know that. They don't even think about it. They don't even know what the present perfect is. When I became an English teacher, decided to do this little course, I did a 4-week course to become an English teacher, got my little certificate, and bam, into a classroom with real humans who thought that I knew what I was doing. In every book that I used to teach them, they had things about the present perfect. I didn't have a clue what the present perfect was. I had to learn the lessons that I was teaching them the morning before I gave the lesson on it. After a 4-week certificate course. Okay, it was Cambridge, but it was 4 weeks. You know how to teach, you know how to talk the language, but you don't know how to teach it. That's the funny thing. So I had to, for many years I was learning new stuff by reading the teacher's book. And then the temptation is to be really scared, because you think you're going to fall flat on your face. They're going to see right through you. They're going to think you're an idiot, an imposter, and all the rest of it. But they don't, funnily enough, because they don't know unless you tell them. They don't know you haven't got a clue what you're doing unless you show them that, unless you tell them that you haven't got a clue. And even if you tell them, they probably think either you're joking or that or if they do believe you, which they probably won't, they'll think that you're a sort of good sport for admitting it. So you can hardly lose. In fact, when you try something, you can hardly lose, because if you do manage to get something across, you'll be appreciated for that. And if you don't, and you're honest about it, I mean, you know, the classic. There were a lot of laughs to be had teaching English. You know, it's a very, very, very rich thing to do, not in monetary terms. Someone would ask you a question, the new English teacher, you know. So when do you use the, I don't know, present perfect, and when do you use the past simple, or something like that? And the best English teacher, the thing to do is not to try and explain it. It's to say, that's a very interesting question. Pierre, what do you think about that? And they haven't got a clue that you haven't got a clue. Not a clue. They just think that you're a good teacher, or that you're a sneaky teacher because you're getting someone else to do it, which you are, but they don't know that you actually don't know sometimes. Anyway, so there's that. So if you just come on board, by the way, I did this for my son. Look, here you are, infinity squared puzzle painting. This actually was taken from certificates I used to give to my my English students when I had an English school, my kids and adults actually. I just changed the words. So Teresa, sneak preview of your certificate of authenticity. How about that? Except it won't look exactly like that. Okay. Any more etymological excavations, Despina? No, we're okay there? Good for you, bringing that up. Very interesting. Yeah, so what else have you been up to? So, Teresa, what have you got to say for yourself? Have you had a nice day? Karen, how are you doing? What have you done? I've created something which I'll show you if I can. This is what I was doing all day, all night. Sounds like a song. All day and all of the night. What was that? The Kinks? All day and all of the night. Da-na, 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 na, 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 da-na, na, na. What am I doing? So I'm about to show you what I was doing all night last night. Yeah, here it is. I'll even get rid of a couple of things to make it look better. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. So this is something I'm planning. It's Paris retreats, and you can have a look at this if you would, and let me know what you think, because it's you know, it's a work in progress. See if I can get that all on one line. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is yeah, it's pretty dubious as to whether retreats, people coming to other countries for retreats, is going to be a thing next year. I don't know what you think. Do you think we're gonna beat the COVID? Do you think the vaccine's going to come out pretty soon and it's going to sort of solve everything, or what? Any comments on that? Teresa Miller says smile. I think got a nice picture of your doggy there, and keep singing so I can Shazam you. You reckon Shazam would understand what I was singing? All day and all of the night. Only time Anyway, I'm not going to sing. It's the Kinks. All day and all of the night. Not too tricky. And very early morning to get out and golf. Teresa, tell me, seriously now, do you do anything apart from hit balls and shoot passers-by with your camera? Enjoyed the beautiful sunrise over the mountains this morning. Very inspiring. How did it inspire you? Did it inspire you to do something? To be something? To have something? Let me know. How did the sunrise inspire you? Or are you just saying it like that? You don't want stupid, fancy questions, maybe. So this is my retreat thing. I'm going to chug through it. See what you think. If you click on these things here, you actually go direct to them. Look, cuisine. Guess what picture I put? Ta-da! Croissant. Because I didn't really have pictures of cuisine. I'm going to put people into a hotel, a standard hotel. And on the retreat program that I'm following on how to run retreats, they say, oh, you've got to send them to a fancy little boutique hotel. I didn't know what a boutique hotel was. It's a fancy one. All cute and homely or something. And I can't afford that. You know, it's going to make the retreat too expensive. And then I thought I'd just let them stay wherever they wanted in case they wanted to come with friends, in case they've got friends they can stay with in Paris. And the retreat people said, no, they've got to be together for it to be a retreat. So I just said, look, I'm going to put them in a standard hotel, you know, a standard Ibis hotel, you know, like a standard one, not an expensive one, not the cheapest, just a standard okay hotel, and, you know, cross my fingers that it's okay. So I can't have a fancy section on how wonderful the hotel is, because it isn't, it's just a hotel. So I'm not quite sure what to do about that. And in terms of the cuisine, well, I just did this section about French cuisine, really, you know, because it's kind of a big thing. So chugging down, I've been advised already, like this, someone said, kickstart the second half of your life. Someone said, but what if I'm only 30? I don't want to think that I'm halfway through my life already, so maybe it should be kickstart your new life or something like that. So I'm already getting comments, so don't give me comments now, because it's not about that, but I'm just showing you that this is what I was working on. So this first section is about setting the seeds. You're supposed to get a bit poetic here and wax lyrical about wherever it is you're running the retreat. So I did that about Paris, and you can read that, and some information about the transformations that you'll have when you come on my five-day retreat. You arrive on Sunday, and it finishes on Friday evening. But you still stay in Paris on Friday evening, so you can do things together on the Saturday if you want. Why is Paris so special? Put all my photographs there. This is the bit about the food, Paris food. I thought Teresa was answering me about how she got inspired. No, she hasn't yet. And then the next section is your transformational journey. So it's going to be a retreat which is 5 days divided into sections, from coming, not knowing where you want to go, knowing how you want to change your life, but not quite sure how to do it. And we go right the way through the process to leaving with lots and lots of motivation and feeling confident and all the rest. So that's my wonderful Paris retreat. I've got 2 other retreats planned. One is photography, one is writing. And they are planned for next year. So if you wanted to come to Paris for a photography retreat, for example, exactly the same thing. I'm not gonna give myself headaches. All my masterclasses are 9 weeks, same structure. All my retreats are going to be the same structure. You arrive on the Sunday evening, get to know each other, settle into the hotel. Monday to Friday, we are together, doing great stuff around Paris. And you know, whatever the topic is, extremely varied stuff, learning new things, being together, having experiences. If it's photography, we'll be exploring all sorts of different photography in different locations every day. If it's writing, exactly the same idea for writing. And incorporating, you know, some of the famous photographers, the famous writers in Paris, seeing where they were, what they were inspired by, maybe where they wrote, that sort of thing. And all of my insider sort of knowledge of Paris given to you. And on the transformational retreat, this one, it's not focused on photography or writing or anything like that. It's focused on your life. And it's going to be a transformational sort of bridge from your old life to the new one. That's the idea. So that's all my sort of transformational coaching stuff going into that. And then this is more blah blah. Yeah, I would like it if you had a look at this and give me any comments. That would be very, very valuable to me. That's the sort of extras that I give, the bonuses. And this section says this retreat is absolutely right for you and then there's a list of stuff which I think people will identify themselves in if it's right for them. And this retreat is not right for you if, and these are the sort of, if you're, well, basically, if it's not right for you, you will recognize yourself in some of these statements. And I had some feedback. The person said, okay, I kind of like these cute little rainbow hearts for the positive things, like it's right for you if these things. But why have hearts? It's a broken heart, you see. Why have hearts if it's not right, if you're not right for it? Make it a bit more boring. So I'm going to get rid of the heart and put, a more boring little bullet point there. So amazing. The feedback I got from one person about 5 things I hadn't considered. 5 things. Like the thing at the beginning, kickstart the second half of your life. And the person said, but what if I'm 30? I don't want to feel like I'm halfway through my life. Fantastic feedback, just because I asked, And she started by saying, you can completely ignore these if you like. It's a little bit like we're so worried about stepping on people's toes and upsetting them, which is fair enough. But she said that, she preluded it with a sort of proviso. You can ignore them if you like. Maybe they don't apply. And then she gave me 5 really useful tips. And I'm sure you could do the same thing. What's included? She also recommended, I've got these diamonds, you see, blue diamonds for what's included, orange diamonds for what's not, which is no sort of logic to it. She said make all the positive things the hearts and all the negative things boring. Cool. Meet your intrepid leader, 𝗲𝗵𝗲. Oh my God. So if you want to know a bit more about me, there it is. I'm going to change this red thing. I haven't changed it yet. It says meet your retreat leader 4 times, but I'm going to change that. So there's some blah blah about me, why I'm here, what I'm doing, what my aims in life are, how I'm trying to help. And then that's the end. Come to Paris? Great. Sign up. Give me your deposits. Have a question for me? Absolutely. Send it in. So that is what kept me up all night. And it's done. Oof. Well, it's not done, you see. It's not. But, that was good. And it took me ages to get down to it. And you know why I got down to it? Hang on. Karen says, you asked what I did. Well, it's Sunday, so I did my weekly self-portrait. It's now on Today's Today. Fantastic. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. And I was going to tell you what got me to do this, and I'll tell you right now. And it involves you. You are directly implicated. Hang on. The reason I got this thing done, not that, is accountability. I said I was going to do it to you guys in Today's the Day, sometimes in person, to a couple of the people that I exchange with. And there came a day, Wednesday, there came a day I had told all my Today's the Day group, one of my accountability partners that I meet, and a couple of other people, 𝗏𝗏, that I was going to have it done. The pressure, the self-imposed pressure was building up. All my fault, all my fault. If I hadn't told anyone, then there wouldn't have been any pressure and I wouldn't have done it. So, thank you. Thank you for holding me accountable. Thank you for sending me a little message saying, well, have you done it? That's the power of accountability. Some of you, you're retired, you play golf all day. You might not think that you want accountability. You don't, but maybe you do. Maybe you have a project. Maybe you have a project that you've got in the back of your mind. You love to get moving on that. You've got your holes in one. They've become a bit boring. Isn't that right, Teresa? Maybe you're looking for that extra little challenge. Well, maybe some of the stuff that we talk about here could be relevant. I saw it. Wonderful. What did you see? Self-portrait. Okay. All right. Today's the day. Dun, 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 dun. Whoa! Here we are. Today's the day I did my weekly self-portrait. I used a simple ballpoint pen this time. How can you... Yeah, you can get amazing pictures with a ballpoint pen, can't you, actually? So how do you see yourself evolving? I mean, have you got a gallery? I think you showed a gallery recently, didn't you, with lots of different pictures. And you see an evolution. I mean, I guess it must get to the point where you now know what you're capable of, you know how to draw yourself, and now you can take liberties. You can decide to draw it in a certain way, like a more scrappy way, a more sophisticated way. Can you do that now? Or do you feel that even after a year, you're still working on basic techniques? I don't know, because I don't draw people. I have no idea. But I mean, I think your shading, I know nothing. I really don't know what I'm talking about. But your shading is getting more sophisticated. In fact, it's very sophisticated. If you look at the shading, is it cross-hatching on the cheeks and stuff? Under the eyes, the shadow of the nose. In the photography group, we were talking about shading and side lighting being a very powerful way of making a strong portrait. And it's exactly the same in drawing, except you have to draw the shading in. And you've done that very beautifully here. Great. Yeah, that's a great project. Do you see yourself carrying on with it for a long time, or is it just like a year and then you'll move on to something else? Me and 𝗲𝗏 are great accountability partners. Okay. So what have you got? What are you accountabilityizing each other on at the moment? Let me know. Well, you help me out, 𝗏𝗏, as well. I think that's a good thing, that we should do that more often, actually. We should maybe have a weekly thing where we say, what, because I mean, I've got someone, but people come and go, don't they? So, and it's always different people give you a different point of view from a different point of view. So I think it's pretty valuable. So, let's have a little accountability session for next week on what we would like to get done by the end of next week. I can tell you what mine is right away if you'd like to share. If I show you yours, I show you mine if you show me yours. So mine is, I want to get my sales page done for my creativity, Infinite Creativity Now masterclass starting in January. It's going to be exactly the same structure as the photography masterclass. So the structure's done, except it's empty. So I need to decide on what the 9 weeks are going to be, what the 3 modules within each week are going to be, what's in each module, like the lesson, what is the lesson, what's the flow through. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fantastic. And you bring your own creative project. So to be honest, it could actually be photography. If you could come off the photography masterclass and go on to that one in January and do photography. There's no reason why not. But it could be any creative project. And my idea is, for example, there's a guy called Michael Neal, great coach. I always enjoy listening to Michael Neal, and I often go on his smaller programs. And he does this thing in January. It's called Creating the Impossible. And this book goes with it. Wonderful book, Creating the Impossible. And it's a 90-day program, you see, to get your dreams out of your head and into the world. But the funny thing is, it's not really focused on results. It's focused on the process, which I totally agree with. I think it's great. I love it. Has influenced me greatly. Very, very enjoyable. Brilliant approach. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do that, but I love creativity. So if I can't do that, I have to do something else. So although I kind of hate goals, I've really gone off goals, I thought to myself, yes, but one of the reasons people don't finish online courses is because they get disheartened and they feel they're not moving towards the goal. They can't see their progress. It's not fun, all sorts of stuff. And that's a shame. Why should, 95% of people don't finish the courses that they buy, they invest in themselves if they're self-development courses. And that's a tragedy. It's a shame. So my programs are designed to be anti-falling off the wagon in terms of the courses. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to do a program like Michael Neal, because for a start he does that and he's brilliant. But how can I make a program more of goal-oriented so that people actually finish the damn thing and feel great about it, because you feel great when you finish something, without dishonoring my distrust of goals? So I thought, well, I want to achieve more. I'm frustrated with how little I achieve. You know, whether you think what I do is a lot or a little, you don't know the whole picture either. So, you know, I'm not particularly satisfied with, well, actually, to be honest, that's not quite true, because I'm moving towards a way of looking at life, which is that I'm always fine. That's my objective, always fine. But that doesn't mean I'm a vegetable sitting on the sofa being fine. That isn't my definition of fine. My definition of fine is always forging ahead, enjoying moments where I'm not forging ahead, and enjoying when I am forging ahead. So it's not a passive feeling fine. It's a feeling fine because I am continually striving to make a difference. And without goals, I don't make much of a difference. And that was really irritating me, you know, really pissing me off. So I wanted to find a way I could achieve goals in a fun way, not this awful way where I always fail the goal, I don't reach it, I've wasted my money, I get despondent, it's another one for the shelf. Oh, but there's a new one, let's try that one. So frustrating. So my objective is for these, my 9-week masterclasses, to be the ones you finish. It's as simple as that. So yeah, so that's what's happening in January. January, it'll be 9 weeks with 2 break weeks in the middle. So 11 weeks in total, but 9 weeks of doing stuff. You come with a project, you don't come with no project, you come with a project, an idea, like the topic. You decide on a 9-week project, which is exciting, challenging, but doable. And the program will get you through as you discover all sorts of fascinating and useful stuff about creativity, that's the ideas side, and productivity, that's bringing it into reality. So that's the broad description of my January to April program. The 4th agreement. Yes, and mine is getting that program, the outline, done. And yours is the 4th agreement. Yeah, so what have we got so far? We've got don't say bad stuff. Be impeccable with your word, isn't it? Then there's the other one. It's not criticizing people. That's being impeccable with your word, isn't it? It's not about you, something like that. It's not about you. It's their problem, not your problem. Somebody doesn't like you, that's a very interesting piece of information about them, right? Somebody doesn't like someone you've done, how interesting that they feel that way. And other people will feel the opposite. So it's not about you. The other one was number 3, I remember. Number 4, I wonder what number 4 is. I'll have to wait and see. Considering I couldn't draw a decent stick figure a few years ago, I'm extremely pleased with myself. I can't draw decent stick figures. I was genuinely thinking of incorporating white stick figures on the deep blue of these, the blue and green one, the Here You Are pictures. I was considering making it lovely, rich, deep blue and green with little white stick figures doing strange things like falling off white lines and things. And I realised I was not capable of drawing a stick figure with the slightest resemblance of it doing a certain action. Be that running, I can manage running, because in English lessons, over like 20 years of English lessons, or 25 years, I don't know, I've managed to be able to make a stick man look like he's running. 2 arms like this, and one leg going backwards and the other one a bit bent forwards. Oh yeah, and hair going out like that. That's it. That is my stick figure library. It's pathetic. So considering you couldn't draw a stick figure years ago, Karen, you're extremely pleased. I even know exactly what needed fixing in this, but can't do it because it's in ink. Yeah, now you're starting to see what's not pleasing you, and it'll get more and more easy, won't it? Easier and easier, even, as some English people say. And yes, even though I've done the portrait project for about 1.5 years, I will continue. It's developing my eye. It is developing my eye. So everything I do art-wise is improving. This is very interesting, Karen, because you know what I do, don't you? Which is very similar. I I'll show you what I do. You probably know, but I don't know if you've seen it in this form. I'm just going to get my the thing up that I want to show you, and then I will show it to you. I'm not showing it to you yet. So, as part of my my photo a day project. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. I started taking self-portraits in about 2004, seriously, and just for fun. And I was there, you know, I was the subject that was there. There were lots of interesting things around, and I found it fun. And then, little by little, I realized, well, little by little, the time passed quickly, if you see what I mean. You suddenly realize, you catch hold of a photograph, you spy a photograph, and you think, oh my God, that was 3 years ago. How did that happen? Oh, I remember where I was. And I realized how amazing it is to have those memories. So I decided to do it a little bit more seriously and to make it a thing, you know, with a capital A and a capital T. And when I started my latest project, my latest serious project, which was on the 1st of January 2018, I decided to incorporate these perturbing self-portraits, I call them. Or did I say perturbing poetry? Perturbing self-portraits, yeah, into my Paris thing. Because for me, Paris, the Eiffel Tower, photography, writing, poetry, whatever, music, it's all one big sort of mishmash. So I don't see why I shouldn't incorporate everything together, which is what I'm doing. I'm basically, it's the integral theory of my entire life. So this is it. You see, this is my library so far in this project of self-portraits. I'll try and get it so that I can blow them up. So can you? No, it's very small. And you know, it's remarkable. It's remarkable how quickly this builds up. It's half scary. It's half exciting. It's scary because you see, and especially when it's self-portraits. You know, because I mean, it's us that are getting older. We're effectively recording our own demise, which it sounds morbid, and yet, whether it sounds morbid or not, whether you record it in this way or not, it's going to happen. So the choice is, do you want to ignore it, the fact that we're mortal, the fact that we're living our lives, time's going on, or do you want to do something creative about it? So the portrait project is fantastic. And I think my photo project is fantastic because my challenge is never to take a photograph which is the same. You know, so many selfies, it's like, you know, it's exactly the same except what's behind you, and it's normally some tourist thing, you know, or someone doing something stupid behind your head. The photographic challenge is never to take a photograph which is the same. That's my challenge. Do you think I've succeeded so far? I'll go through them very quickly. I'm not going to go through all of them, don't worry. But just look at the difference between each one. There's several differences, you know, it's not, it could be a difference in like black and white, the treatment of it could be heavily coloured, it could be faded. You could see my face completely. There's a double exposure or maybe a triple exposure. I'm looking mean, occasionally I'm smiling. There I'm neutral, there's a play with the an advert behind, Born Creative. This was a... I'd actually stopped drinking when I took this, but Desperado was one of my my go-to beers. I would often be walking around Paris with a bag on my back full of Desperados, or a cheaper equivalent that costs like almost half the price, because that's what you do. So this is kind of me like almost getting my revenge in a way for what had me in its control, and the sort of sick thing is that the advert for beer, which destroys lives, is capable of destroying lives. They use these really cool slogans like Born Creative, you know. There's nothing really creative about being pissed out of your head or spending all your money and all your time and all your dignity and, you know, destroying all your relationships. by drinking alcohol. It's not really the most creative activity I can imagine. But the advert's quite creative. So there's more to these photographs than meets the eye. You know, there really is. There has to be. There has to be. Otherwise, it's you know, me in the Eiffel Tower, me in the, I don't know, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, me in Big Ben, me and my grandmother, me and my, you know, whatever. That's not what this is about. This is about every single photograph having something to say. And I mean, that story, I didn't plan on showing you that. And look what happened. I know where I was when I took this, where I was, what I was doing. And every photograph has a story. Every single damn photograph has a story. I can remember what state I was in, where I was, my son took this, I know where the wood is. I remember this mug, it's attached to a romantic thing that didn't work in Malaga in Spain, with a Miro sort of mug. That's got a story, that mug. 2 smashed iPhones in this. They're both smashed. Which one is taking the photograph? You see there's 2? There's one up here in the top right, and there's another one in the bottom left. And reflected in the iPhone here is a book on Paris. So one of those iPhones, they're both smashed, I think. One of them is taking a photograph of the other one, and in one of them is the smashed window of this one is Paris. And behind me here is a painting which is still behind me over there. By the way, let me show you. See, still there. One of my first ever paintings. This painting is interesting actually. It's based on 6 lines. It's literally 6 lines. I just went boom, 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 dum, 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 without any idea what it was going to be. Then I coloured them in between the lines, and coloured around them, and I ended up with a painting which sometimes looks like a bird and sometimes looks like a dolphin. How about that? So anyway, the point is, I think it's a fantastic thing to have a project which doesn't have an end date, which is different to yours. I think that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. This is a self-portrait. Can you see me? There's me in this mirror, in amongst this graffiti. There's my tiny little sliver of a head, and you can't see my mouse, I'm doing it on the wrong thing. There's my head in the top right-hand corner. My hand, it's graffiti. You know, I mean, I remember everything. I remember who was there. I remember everything. They're people. They're all linked to people. They're all linked to events. It's scary. It's incredibly scary and emotional, but it's powerful. What is life about? Is it about watching Netflix all the time? I must admit, I'm getting really hooked back on Blacklist. Absolutely adore Blacklist. But I don't watch it all the time. What's life about? Is it about being led, or is it about creating these things, which are sometimes difficult to swallow and difficult to look at again? But what would you prefer? To have those memories, or to not have any? I'm not saying I'm the great memory creator and other people aren't. That's ridiculous. A lot of people are building far, I wouldn't say better, but, you know, richer memories than me. You know, I'm not, in terms of my family, my memories of the family, it's, you know, it's not going particularly well, but, you know, everyone has their life, don't they? One coach for English teaching suggests a 6-week online program and a quick win at the beginning, so people feel they have accomplished something. Quick wins, and wins throughout, like every week, every assignment should be a win. Yeah, really important. We need that. Don't take it personally. The second agreement, don't take it personally, right? You're not going to tell us the 4th. Creative disintegrating self-portraits. That sounds like the portraits themselves disintegrate. Fall into all the pixels and the ones and zeros. It's me that's creatively disintegrating, yeah. It's me that is creatively disintegrating before your very eyes. And this one with the iPhones is a fantastic photo. It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah. 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 It's such fun as well, trying to do something original. So much more fun than doing something that everyone else does, or, you know, the book, someone else. I mean, what an amazing book to be holding. If you're thinking about life, the universe and everything, and reading a book called Someone Else, that's just, you know, it's just amazing. I mean, I didn't know the book was there. I was just walking past 𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏, the most famous English bookshop in Paris. And it's got all this really cool writing and stuff. You sit on this really nice bench, you grab a book. I always find this, whenever I go to 𝗏𝗏𝗏, especially in the little library upstairs, I grab a book and it always says something to me. Yeah? So look, let me show you. Now this isn't from 𝗏𝗏𝗏, but it's a book. You can really get some interesting shots when you include books in which have got particularly evocative titles. Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. Great book, by the way. All the answers to life, the universe and everything are in that little book. It's only about this big. Read it. You won't need to read any more. You will read more though, because, you know, it's fun. Here's one, direct from the shelves of 𝗏𝗏𝗏, the little library upstairs. There are these old books, you can't take them away. The Book of Illusions, with this amazing eye. And we're all about illusions. Life is an illusion. We create illusions when we create photographs. Photographs aren't real. They're not any realer than life is real, and life isn't any realer than photographs, if you ask me. So everything's an illusion. You know, the eye that is looking at you from the book cover, it's not a real eye. And yet if you said, what's on the cover? You say, an eye. No, ink, a bit of plastic covering it, some paper. There's no eye on the book. Anyway, that's just playing with words, isn't it? And then let me show you another. I'm sure there's another couple. A lot of times I'm inspired by words when I find words which, in posters are really great. Look at this one, The Artist. You know, going past a place called The Artist, and I did that with it. This is going past a poster. Guess what this is a poster for? What are they advertising? It says, your new English teacher. Which is great, you know, because I was an English teacher, and it's because on this course, whatever it is, they use sort of series and stuff to teach you English. So they probably use Dracula to teach people English. So that's why. So that's quite funny. And it's me trying to look a bit Dracula-ish. If I'd had some, you know, tomato sauce or stuff, I'd have put it on my face, but it was in the metro. And I didn't happen to have any. So, yeah, lots of books in there. I thought there were more from Shakespeare. Yeah, there's one. This is from 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Upstairs library. Witch's Breed. Witch's Breed. And you know I've got the website blackwitch.com. I still don't know what to do with it. You're saying 6 lines, not 9. What are you referring to there? Going back in time there. 6 lines, not 9. Not sure what you're talking about. And this is cool because look at the reflection. That's yeah, I love it. Really good. And the phone isn't in the shot. The book title is. The reflection's good. I've got that funny expression on my face. I like my treatment of it. It goes down in history. This is now part of history. It's part of my life. And it can't be taken away. So that's why I try to create as much as possible. To create things that exist, which wouldn't have existed otherwise. What can you look back on? If, like Karen, you can look back on all your portraits. It's amazing. Those are moments of your life that you've spent thinking, creating, sharing. Very important. This is what our lives are made of. The painting you made with only 6 lines, why not 9? Because at that point, and also there's this one as well. I'll show you. There's this one. This was before I discovered my thing, my 3x3. See, there's literally 6 lines. Look, count them. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 lines. I call it 6 lines, but that way it kind of looks like a bird with a beak, and that way some people think it's like a kite or a dolphin or something. And even then, there was no way up to my paintings. I didn't say which way up was up. I said, look at this. Which way up do you prefer it? And this is an old one as well, really old. This was literally one of my first ones. So I was just discovering it might even be an oil for all I know. No, I think it's probably acrylic, and it's getting a bit dark now. But it was literally me just plastering stuff on. I put a shape of a man seeming to conquer a couple of mountains, or either crush them or leap over them. I'm not quite sure which. And that was quite symbolic, really. You know, symbolic of overcoming difficulties, forging ahead. So I was into sort of strange things even before I discovered my 3x3 system. You saw Phoenix? Yeah, well, you can see lots of things actually. Dorothy's an expert in seeing lots of strange things, isn't she? In trees and things. Say hello, by the way, if you just joined me. This is me talking about creative stuff on a Sunday evening for me. I haven't slept, so that's why I called this show No Sleep Till Sunday, because that's what I've had. No sleep till Sunday. It's Sunday evening, and the last time I slept was on Saturday morning, just before I woke up, funnily enough. This is BFG in Alien Disguise. Big furry giant? I don't know. Something like that? Is that a Roald Dahl thing? Big something giant? Could be. Yeah, so what I do here is I talk about creativity, mine and yours. Have you got anything creative to tell me? Have you got any creative questions? Any questions about creativity and productivity? Because you can say a lot of things about me. Hey, steady on. But you have to admit that I publish a Paris photograph every day and a Paris text. If you don't say anything else about me, you've got to say that that's what I do, because I don't say what I am. It's a bit like I've got a couple of little sort of maxims that I've adopted, and you might want to think about where you lie on the spectrum of doing what I do, or you do something different. I like saying that I don't believe in anything. That's one thing that I like to say. I don't believe in anything, and I won't go into that right now. And the second thing I like to say is I don't say what I am, I say what I do. And before, a lot of people encourage you to be rather than to do or have. They say be the way you want to be, and that will bring you the stuff that you want. And I kind of thought, yeah, that sounds probably sounds quite good. And I often said, I am this, I am that, you know, I am a coach, I am a runner, I am an English teacher, I am a this, I am a that. And then I started to look into labels and the destructive power of labels. They cover up the good stuff. These can be labels, they can literally be labels, like you have a badge and it says, you know, Dr. Smith. And I see some people online, they're very proud of being a doctor, and there's even this trend, which is I find it a bit what's the word? Anyway, I'll tell you the trend first. There's this trend. They don't call themselves doctor and then the last name. They call themselves doctor and the first name, and I think it's a bit. Oh God, there's a really good word for it. I can't think of it. It's a bit crap. It's a bit naff. It's a bit, you know, pants. Because what are they trying to do? They're trying to be friendly because they're calling it using the first name, but they're still putting the doctor, you know, Dr. Joe, Dr. something or other. And you see that quite often. And I just think, look, you want to be friendly, don't drop the doctor. Because they're so obsessed with their label. They're so proud of their shiny little doctor thing. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they've chosen a life path where they've studied one thing theoretically a lot and a hell of a lot of other things not at all. So, you know, that's why I don't really... I'm not a fan of labels of any sort. Don't get me started. I think they're extremely dangerous. I mean, look, if I had a heart attack, I'd want someone who had a doctor in front of their name to look at me. Absolutely, of course. But what I don't like is when it seems to be related to the sort of worth of a person or an indication of someone's intelligence or creativity or something like that. That's when it doesn't work for me. No labels work for me like that. I don't care what certificate you've got. You can be a master this, a god like that. Doesn't interest me in the slightest. What interests me, and that's what I try to follow, is what have you done this week? Don't tell me what you are. Tell me what you've done this week. That works in coaching, and to be honest, it works for anything. You know, if you're an artist, well, when I wouldn't say when was the last time you drew something, because that's like testing them. It's not very pleasant, is it? Because if it's last year, they might feel a bit embarrassed about it. But I would say, oh, you paint. So what have you painted recently? And that's not aggressive. You know, that's not trying to shame them. That's genuinely being interested in what they've just said they are. But I don't say what I am. I honestly don't these days. You know, I don't say anything. The only times I do is when I have to. Like in this thing here that I wrote. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, this is something to think about, isn't it? You know, you don't have to agree with me at all. Why would you? But I'm just giving you ideas in case, you know, it interests you. Roald Dahl. The big something giant. What is it? What do you tell it? Big friendly giant. Okay, yeah. You think this is the big friendly giant in disguise? It's slightly worrying that he doesn't seem to have arms, or they seem to be in a kind of straitjacket. Yeah. Yeah, he looks a bit like Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, so my thing with labels is I don't say what I am, except look, I did last night. It was late. So here's my. Do I say what I am? I try not to. Yeah, look. Oh God, this is so cringy. Oh, you can't even see it. I don't even know if I want to show it to you, to be honest. I have to share another thing. Yeah, I find this really cringy, actually, even showing this to you. Which you might think is weird, because everybody says what they are. Everyone says, I'm a this, I'm a that. They're so proud of it. I'm a certified master something or other practitioner. You know, they're so proud of their little certificates. Anyone can do certificates. And you know what you're doing all the time you're doing certificates. You're not actually doing anything, you know, in the real world to get experience. You might be. But don't get me wrong, you know, I'm saying ridiculous sweeping statements which are, you know, about probably 80% not exactly what I'm trying to say. But I'm just saying that I really appreciate when people take action. They don't say what they are. They just say what they do. That's believable. They say, look what I painted yesterday. Okay, so I can say to myself, they're a painter. But you know, it's like everybody has these preconceived ideas of labels. They think they know what it means. So if someone says I'm a painter, they might think that they paint people's houses, or they might think that they're an artist and do pretty pictures that go on people's walls. And then you've got deeper preconceived ideas. An artist, like poor, lazy maybe, a social misfit, probably alcoholic, all sorts of things. Alcoholic, there's a good example. You know, if you label someone alcoholic, it doesn't really tell you much about the person, and you can fill in any label, doctor, any label at all, any qualification. It doesn't tell you anything. You know, you think someone's a doctor. Yeah, but there's all of their entire life behind them. Don't forget that. There's the place they went to study. There's the people they studied with, the patients they had, the things they studied. You know, it's not, you don't study the same thing in every place. The research they did, their attitude towards it. One doctor might hate their job, another might love it. One might be brilliant, the other might be crap. One might be a charlatan, the other might be extremely moral and all the rest of it. So these labels are so dangerous. You know, when it comes to humans, you can't really believe much, to be honest. It's like saying, you know, oh, you were born in born in August. Oh, you're a Leo. Ta-da! Label, boom, boom. They've got preconceived ideas about what a Leo is. There's this woman on a program I'm doing, and the program, I won't name it, but the program is a very good program on a certain subject. And they're keyed up people. They're very, I was going to say intelligent there, just to let you know, the word intelligent almost popped out, and it did, but I'm telling you that I stopped myself. Now I'm telling you that I stopped myself. I had my own idea of what intelligence is, and it's not what this woman also does. Do you see what I mean? I'm trying to be transparent here. So, very interesting program, loads of good stuff, etc. I'm on this woman's mailing list now. She also sends out emails about astrology. So this woman, who I respect greatly for the program that I'm doing, excellent content, fantastic. She also, so in my book, based on my preconceptions, she's an intelligent, a dynamic, successful person. And then she sends out these emails. I've got some questions here. Aren't you proud to say I am Sab? Well, I'm not really, am I? I mean, I'm not really Sab, really. Not really. So I'm not proud to say that I'm Sab because I'm not really Sab. That's just a label. I don't know if you consider it a label, but you are an inspiration to me. Well, that's not a label though, is it? That's not a label at all. You're an inspiration to me as well. That's not a label though. I wouldn't call it a label. So just to finish my story. So this woman, she sends out these emails. So she's got another interest. I'm sure she's got lots. And it's a perfectly serious email about the current star period that we're in. For, I don't know what they call it. And, you know, here she is, this lucid, intelligent, woman. In the email, it's all about treating this topic with the same level of seriousness. Okay, so everybody, you know that it's a Sagittarius month. Oh my God, I could even read it. No, I won't do that. So we're in Sagittarius at the moment. And this is, I'm going to make this up. I haven't got a clue what I'm saying, but it was along these lines. This is it's a dark month. It's a month of change. We're moving into the winter cycle. It's a month of change. It's a month of shadows. It's a month where your shadows will be more to the fore than usual. But on the other hand, that's not necessarily negative, because it can be a period of consolidation as the constellation of Cygnus crosses the cusp of. So there's some you know astrology woo-woo stuff in there as well, in the midst of this completely invented stuff, with a bit of, you know, because Sagittarius tend to be, you know, I don't know, moodier or have this dark side, but we are also highly resourceful, and it's a time for consolidating. And you know, so I mean, it's an incredible mixture of pop psychology, utter woo-woo, and attaching it to, you know, what we often perceive as real emotions. It's incredible to receive this thing from someone who seems to take it seriously. My one wish, but which I won't do, is to send back to her. I mean, I'm on her email list. It's not like she sent it to me personally and I was waiting for it. which is why I'm not going to be that guy, be that asshole, you know. But my one wish was just to send an email back, a reply back to her and say, do you actually believe what you're saying? I know that there's a lot of stuff that I do that is utterly illogical and has no meaning whatsoever, like throwing paint at canvas. That's why I laugh at these things these days. But I still enjoy laugh. I do stuff. I do, you know, what is the point of throwing paint at canvas? What is the point? I get that, but that doesn't mean I still can't laugh at other people who also do other ridiculous things. I don't know if you see what I'm trying to say there. What a load of blah blah. Okay, so back to you guys. The painted 6 lines. I recently dug out with my friends the blog we used to write when we were both depressed. We were both depressed together. It's amazing to read those things today. I feel what you are saying. And Thomas in our group, in the Today's the Day group, was sharing an old diary or something where he'd made some notes. He's very creative, isn't he? And he's also quite brave, I think, to show things like that. I saw Phoenix, the big friendly giant in alien disguise, Roald Dahl. Am I proud to say, aren't you proud to say I'm Sab? I reply to that. Sab is just a label like any other. I changed the label that my parents gave me for another one. But it's still a label. It's a game. It's a game we're playing, you know. And I decided I didn't want to play the game where other people have given me the label that is used a lot in reference to me. I wanted to be the one who chose the label that is used in reference to me quite often to attract my attention and stuff. And so that people know who it is that's speaking. And I kind of attached that to a creative act for what it's worth. You know, it's not everybody who changes their name. It's not official. Still, my passport is my old first name. My last name stays the same. But for me, it represents something. It represents, it's symbolic. So much as I sort of make fun of people, woo-woo people and stuff, I have plenty of symbols. I love symbols. I think they're great. You know, like I've got stones. I know people who, and I've even got tarot cards, believe it or not. Hang on. Okay, I've just got one here. I've got this stone here. Let me show you. Hang on, what does it say? Don't know if you consider it a label, but you're an inspiration to me. I do, Sab. You consider it a label? I don't know. The new moon is in Scorpio, Sab. Is it really? You know what constellations are? They're complete fabrications. They're inventions. People look in the sky. This is my point of view. And they see a bunch of stars together and they decide it's a constellation. It's not really a constellation. They're not attached. There isn't any string between them, you know. And they don't look like scorpions, really. And people decide that a bunch of stars that are just randomly in the same space as you look towards them, randomly, they prefabricate this really tenuous link to make an animal, something human that we can relate to. Then they decide to invent this system relating these invented groups of stars with this, you know, very dubious link to an animal that we know, to our birth time, as if there's a certain point of birth where we, you know, something amazing happens. You know, when do we start being when do we start being a person? Is it really when we're born? Weren't we kind of a bit of a person before we came out of the womb, like for a few months? And anyway, and then they assign the characteristics to these things, and that's it. They label you, and they do things like deciding that they can get on with certain people, certain star signs, and not with others. I think most people, it's half a joke, it's half for fun. They don't take it too seriously, but some people make a living from it. And that's where you've got to ask yourself, do they really believe it? Are they taking people's money under false pretenses? Or are they taking people's money knowing that it's entertainment? You know, it's like if you watch a film, the actors are lying. They're not really the people they're pretending to be. So that's kind of false pretenses, isn't it? But we willingly pay the money. So I think, you know, astrology and stuff, it's like that. It's just entertainment. Although a lot of people don't, though. A lot of people don't. And then that's just what being a human is about. You know, if I put some lines, some coloured things on a painting, what the hell? Why? What? What do you do that for? And if people actually want to have that and are willing to exchange a token of value for it, well, that's a game too. So, you know, I'm in the game, you're in the game, we're all in the game. But the thing is kind of not to take the game too seriously, I think. I have no worries about with astrology or tarot cards, anything. If it's fun, if it gets people talking, that's fantastic. But if someone starts thinking that it's true as a thing in itself, if they think that holding this stone close to you really does have magical powers and they have a nice list, this stone is really powerful because it helps you with lumbago, arthritis and the common cold, but only if you stick it in your left backside pocket. You know, it's really quite impressive what people seem ready to believe, and that's fun. That's part of the fun of being human, isn't it? There's a lot of strange things going out there. Not always easy to see the funny side of them, but we do what we can with what we've got. So I was going to say that I do have a label here. You see, it says I'm an international transformational coach. Now I wouldn't have put that personally, but I kind of had to, because the game of selling yourself or selling your services has certain rules. And one of the rules is the sort of what people expect is that you say what you are. So, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm that really. I'm a person who talks to people, and yeah, there's all sorts of things. Yeah, I prefer what I do, but anyway, you know what I mean. So much for that. I'm just going to show you a couple of things I've created during the week, and then we'll call it a night. This was in tribute to Alice, I would say. Oh, hang on. Oh no, yeah. I'll say good night, Sab. Thank you for all you're doing for us. Well, thank you for being part of my creative universe and letting me be part of yours. This is for Alice, this one, because she likes lamps. You know, she's I think she's quite suspicious of anything that isn't sort of up in the air and that starts shining at night. This is an interesting one because it's next to a line which has been gouged into the stone. So it's obviously meant to be there, this line. And next to it is the date 1910. That was the most recent big in the last century, except it's not now. Well, it was the last century in terms of the 20th century. As you're walking along the banks of the river, as I was, that line is way above your head. And on the other side of that wall is Paris. And in 1910, this wall isn't complete. It didn't stop the river. There are plenty of places where there ain't no wall. So Paris was swimming like this much. People were canoeing through the streets of Paris in 1910. And the interesting thing is, they say that it's a cyclical event roughly every century. So there was a big one in 2018, but 2016 was pretty big, but not as big as this. So we're kind of wondering if there's one of these years it'll be the biggie, and that's what I wrote about in the text that went with this. And that's me continuing my occasional series, the musical mystery tour. I'm only up to 28. It's a bit sad, but I'm doing my best to get my favourite musics out there. Musics, there you go. It's a plural. This is me trying to be commercial. Powerful personal coaching. And this I added this little speech bubble here just for fun. These are the number of places that I have available. Every month, approximately a couple of spaces become available. Maybe one, maybe two. So I've decided to put them there, so people know that I coach people, and that I have 4-month packages. I coach people for 4 months, or for 8 months, or for 12 months. That's what I do when I'm not creating stuff. So I wanted people to know. So for example, this month I do have a space for one person to start a coaching package with me. It could be 4, 8 or 12 months. And next month I'll do the same. If I have spaces, I'll say how many there are. Normally there's not more than 2. So and I added this. I thought this was fun because the other, it's a bit serious, all turbocharge. I mean, it's true, but all this sort of stuff, And then I thought, okay, smile. It'll probably happen, because normally you say smile. It may never happen. I thought I was looking a bit grim here, so I said. I tried to turn it on its head, smile, it'll probably happen. And what I was thinking of is smile. The things that you would like to happen may actually happen. It is possible. I'm not talking law of attraction here, but if you do concentrate on something, that's the thing you tend to work on, be thinking about, be thinking you should be doing stuff on, actually do stuff on, and stuff gets done. So that's me, yet another attempt to, be proactive. This was one I threw out very quickly. You can pray for inspiration or eschew it. Put your hopes in hands of gods or poo-poo it. Fine, just do it. I don't know where that came from. The angel was something or other, but I can't remember what was going on with the angel. That's why I said pray. Maybe someone was talking about angels, I can't remember. And it's in this series of 81, 9 times 9, of these memes, the crazy creative session, and a series, and they rhyme. I've decided that they rhyme, so it had to rhyme. You can pray for inspiration or eschew it. So this little angel looks like she's praying for something. Put your hopes in hands of gods. In other words, decide it's someone else's responsibility, or you could say, there's 2 ways of looking at it. It's someone else's responsibility, I don't need to do anything, and it'll just come. Or it's not my fault. It's not my fault if I'm crap, because it's somebody else's fault. Or you can say, I let myself be taken by the flow of imagination of life and all that, and the ideas will come. So you can interpret that however you like. I'm only up to about 33 there. I'm supposed to be 81 by my birthday, which was the 22nd of August. I'm a Leo, which means I'm amazing. That's true, by the way. That isn't woo-woo. Leos, especially those born on the 22nd of August, are really quite exceptional. And these are my latest photographs. This was inspired by the topic from Chris in the club, the smartphone creative. Oh God, what's it called? It's late. I haven't slept. Remember, I haven't slept for 36 hours, 37 now. The Creative Smartphone Photography Club, and the challenge was take photographs from below the knee level. So good to be reminded not to take photographs from head level or chest level. I tell people this in the smartphone class, and then what I do, I take all my shots from eye level or chest level. Terrible. There you go. This photograph is impressive. You might not realize it's impressive, but it is. Because if I'd taken this from standing up, it wouldn't have been anything like this. Not half as dynamic. So believe me, this photograph is impressive. Given what was in front of me and the potential for taking an impressive photograph, I think I did okay. Just by getting down low and really close to these lines. And then, I waited for the train. It's not like it was there by chance. It was on purpose. I put it there. The guy walking away, his legs, a bit of humanity there. And these circles, signs of the times. You know what they're for, don't you? They're supposed to encourage social distancing and not standing too close. Don't stand so close to me. And I won't go into the text or anything. No time for that. This is the Friday thing I do. You check in, it's live, it's on Zoom. You come in, you show your face and you say what you're pleased with doing. And this goes hand in hand with the one with 1910. It's on the other side of it, actually, on the other side of the building, on the edge of the river. and they've put loads of dates for the dates when the river made a certain height. You can see it, well, you can't see, but it's much lower than the 1910, which is really high. And some of these dates are a bit dubious. They're not quite accurate, I think. But there's 2016. The others I don't know about, these ones. I'm not sure about. I think 1982 there might have been one. The others I don't know at all. I think 2016, 1910 and 1658 was a huge one. Apparently that was the biggest, 1658. I put it in my text. Right, so what have you got, before I go, what have you got planned? If there's still people watching, what have you got planned? If you're watching the replay, what have you got planned for the coming week? How are you going to be creative in the coming week? That's my question to you. I'll just chug through a couple more of these. Now I think our creative blog and article writing show was great on Thursday. There were people, I was chatting with people, lots of interaction. We talked about loads and loads of great words and texts, poetry, I think. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I was fuzzy, by the way. There's something wrong with my camera and I was fuzzy. So there's a fuzzy me. And it was really, really enjoyable. A very rich hour talking about words. So if you want to do that, contribute to something, any writing at all, to the creative blog and article group or something, my writing group. I said blog and article. I didn't want to just say creative writing, that could be anything. Blog and article. I didn't want it to be stories or anything specifically, or poetry, although I do write poetry and so do others. But I thought blog and article was good because article, I kind of write an article every day. So it's a bit coherent, you know, I've got a bit of experience in that. And blogs, you can put anything, normally quite short, on a blog. So that's why I'm excited about, and I wanted to call it blog and article writing group. Because in fact, what can you put on a blog? You can put your own original memes, you can put short stories, you can put poetry, you can put articles of all sorts. So I think blog and article is great. I think it's great. Covers all sorts of things. And on my Paris retreat and on my masterclass for writing, it will cover aspects of all of those. All right, so I think we're about getting towards the end. This is so cute, this one. Look at this. Walking along by the banks of the river. All their ducks in a row, you know, without the slightest hint of a metaphor. They've got all their ducks in a row. And this is on a barge, walking down by the sides of the banks of the river. See this barge. Not only have they got all their ducks in a row, every single duck is in this cutest outfit. And they've got this little bit of sort of poetic hibbery-gibbery. I don't know what you would call that. But some sort of evocative line which says "Se dire que les étoiles sont la rosée du ciel à suivre," which means something like to think that the stars are the dew of the sky, to be continued. It's kind of nice to be walking along. Not only do you see the sort of cuteness of the ducks, very sweet, the slightly obscure profundity of the line, the poetic line, and then you've got nature's poetry with the leaves, beautiful colours, quite similar to the ducks, you'll notice, the oranges and the yellows, lying on the side of the quayside and the edge of the boat, which I still can't remember what it's called. That's really quite poetic. It's nature's poetry. You don't need words to be poetic. It's, you know, nature doesn't have words. It has itself, and that's enough. Nature doesn't have to be poetic. So I'm very pleased with that. I like it a lot. You know, all the little duckies kind of echoed by all the little leaves, not in such a perfect row, but they're still along that line. And even on this next bit, this bit here underneath the credit there's leaves tucked away in that little sort of gully. And there's all these lovely sort of diagonal lines. It's not too extreme. It's not like 45 degrees. I love angles. In fact, I'm known for my angles. But they can't be too extreme. 45 degrees is not a good look, if you ask me. It's just too weird. This is even feasible taken straight on, because a boat could be at an angle, couldn't it? Got Karen saying, I'm trying to paint a chickadee in watercolour. I wonder what a chickadee is. Is it a small chicken? I even drew it myself. But maybe I shouldn't have labelled it in case it turns out just to be an imaginary bird. Yep, because if it doesn't look exactly like a chickadee, I'm going to roast you. I'm going to roast you publicly. I'm going to say, she thought that this is supposed to be a chickadee. Look at it. Doesn't even look like Donald Duck. Why don't you quickly get inspiration from these ducks and turn it into one of those? Look, there's even a duck there with an Indian headdress. Good grief. How politically correct is that, I wonder? I don't know. And Dorothy says, I might paint your birthday painting. My birthday painting? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm definitely intrigued. I won't say any more in case I embarrass myself. And I'll finish off by showing you my latest photographs no, I haven't got them all. I've just got these ones. Yeah, I've got the ducks. This is a Paris curiosity. Not many people know this, folks. I've been going for 1 hour and 3/4. I thought I'd been going for an hour. You can test people who think they know Paris. It's a tower. Can you see that sort of lattice work, that metal behind this chimney thing? Well, it's the Eiffel Tower. So right next to the Eiffel Tower is a tower. It's actually a chimney, but it's hidden away in a kind of little copse, like a little group of trees next to a lake. Did you know there's a lake next to the Eiffel Tower? There's a lake next to the Eiffel Tower, and there's this chimney, it's not a small chimney. You know, it's not like a chimney on a house. You see this sort of thing here where I'm putting my mouse around it. You see that? I mean, that's a doorway that a man or a woman could go through, or it's the size. So it's a big chimney right next to the Eiffel Tower. Practically nobody knows it's there, because when you go to the Eiffel Tower, you don't look for chimneys that you don't even exist, right? You look at the Eiffel Tower. So it's a really good metaphor, actually, and I will be using it in I'm writing a book on Paris metaphors, Paris themed metaphors for life, basically, something like that. Understanding life through Paris metaphors, along those lines. And this is a great one. This will be in my book, and it might be in my my Paris retreat as well, because it's like there was that video. Do you remember? Have you seen that video where there's a bunch of people passing basketballs or something, and the researchers ask the people to count how many times the basketball is passed between the 5 people in the room, something like that. And then at the end they ask how many times the ball was passed at the end. That's the task that the people had been focusing on. And they gave the answers. They gave the number of times. And they say, did you notice anything strange as you were watching the video? And they say, no, not at all. And in fact, absolutely clearly, someone dressed in something like a purple gorilla suit had walked across the scene. And they didn't notice at all. They couldn't tell you what was strange about the scene. And when they looked at they would swear that there wasn't any purple gorilla in that scene. Are you crazy? They watched the film again, there's the purple gorilla. Because they were focusing on something else. So when you're approaching the Eiffel Tower, you're not looking for a chimney that you don't even know is there. So guess what? You don't see it, but it's there. I mean, there it is. There it is. This isn't a trick photograph. And this is a great metaphor for various things. It's like going out and saying, oh my God, I live in this crap town, there's nothing to photograph. Or the equivalent for any other activity. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's just that you don't necessarily look for things that you don't know are there. But as soon as something as simple as looking down or looking up, instead of looking straight ahead, you will see things that you've never seen before, for a start. And because you've never seen them before, they will be more interesting. So, oh look, there's a weathercock in the shape of a witch on top of a house, for example. And that's a real example from my life recently. You know, and things happen. Or, you know, different ways of tilting the camera, looking at things through a strange shaped object. If you've never done it before, you don't realise it could give you a new way of looking at things. So that's any sort of creativity course or writing course, creative writing or creative photography will use these sort of things. They'll try to get people to look at things in a different way. I mean, it sounds like a joke, but literally, even standing on your head, if you're capable of doing it, why not? Because the world will look very different. Or metaphorically, standing on your head. So, you know, I encourage you to do that if you can, as you're wandering around. If you're going towards something famous, look at everything but the famous thing. You'll see the famous thing when you get there. It's not a problem. You're not going to miss it. But what about all the other stuff that's on the way to the famous thing? And you could also use that as a sort of metaphor for goals. Some people are so focused on some overriding, seemingly so important goal that all they focus on is the goal. They worry about the goal, they stress about the goal. They sometimes reach it and sometimes don't. But they didn't really notice all the days or the steps leading up to the goal, which is a shame because that was just as valid a part of their life as getting to the goal, or more often than not getting to the goal. So, you know, there's all sorts of things you can pull out of this, isn't there? And I think I'll call it a day. So I will put a little word in for my sponsors, shall I? Because I'm supposed to do this each time, according to me, and I sometimes forget. So my sponsors are me, of course. So there's my sign up for my newsletter. At the moment it's coming out about once a week. It's a creativity or a productivity hint or tip. It's quite fun. That should be, what's that doing? Yeah, there you go. So you go to infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter and you get some 9 fun ninja tips on being more creative. If you have friends, could you send them to get that as well? I'd really appreciate that. Dorothy says, I usually go to the Eiffel Tower from an ethnographic museum, down the stairs and beside fountains. I don't have memories of the lake. Last time there was a painted cows exhibition. There was a painted cows exhibition so long ago, like decades ago, like 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, I wouldn't be surprised. There were painted cows all over the place, and it wasn't just France, it was the world, I think, or Europe. That was incredible. And when the exhibition had finished, some of the cows disappeared and some of them got shunted off various places, and you'd find them every now and then. You'd come across a painted cow from this exhibition. The great thing was, different artists were given the cows and they were to decorate them in their own style, which is a little bit like 𝗏𝗏𝗏, the street artist 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Let me show you something. So what he does is I have to be careful here. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏 started making plaster casts of his face, and this is the back, and you stick this on the wall. The idea is he did a lot himself, and it's a cast of his face, and this one is with his tongue out like this, and he did other one pursing his lips like a kiss, and another one a smile, and I think another one a frown or a pout. And not only did he do it, he paint them and put them on the walls of Paris, but he gave them or sold them to other artists who were to paint them in their style and stick them up in the town, on the walls of their towns. And now the guy's around the world. Can you believe that? And this is my version of a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 plaster cast. Now I was supposed to put this up on the walls, but it ended up being so beautiful I couldn't bring myself to. So it's my version because look, my things continue. That green thing carries on there, you see? So the green carries on there. It falls off one side and goes on the other. That purple bit falls off that side and carries on the other side. And the orange on his head, kind of falls off that side and comes back here on his chin. So that's me in my style doing a Gregos mask, and I did 4 of them, and I like them so much I couldn't bear the idea that there's infinity squared. Can you see? Infinity squared on his nose. I couldn't bear, because what happens is they get smashed, you know. Clever people, they smash other people's art, street art, and I couldn't bear the idea of my one being smashed, so it's still with me. I haven't sold them, I haven't shown them, well, shown them occasionally, but I ain't putting it on the wall. It's become too precious. So that's about it, that, folks. Painted cows at various dairy farms around here somewhere. That's cool. Yeah, it was an artistic exhibition, an artistic enterprise. That's not the word. Initiative, creative. Yeah. Right. So that's it, folks. I haven't slept for about 38 hours. I've got a feeling I'm still going to do something else. I'd like to do something else creative before I go to bed. So lovely to have you here, as always. So that's one of my sponsors. If you can get people to sign up for the, help me out here. Do a little bit just to help me out, and I appreciate it. So send anyone who might be interested to get my my newsletter, my creative newsletter. It's quite fun, and then that links in to this group, the Infinite Creativity Now group, where I post my latest article. My articles from lazypig.com as well. I post them here, and you can discuss them. You can also post any of your creative things in this group. There's no limits. In the photography group, it's obviously for photography. In the writing group, for writing. Here, you can post anything, including photography and writing if you want. So, so that's it. That's that place there. And another sponsor will be this one. Can you guess who it's going to be? It's going to be Infinite Creativity Now itself. Now this is the home to my Paris, it's going to be the home to my Paris retreats and my Paris masterclasses. So this is where it'll say what's happening. So next 9-week creative experience, Infinite Creativity Now masterclass starts January 2021. And I'm not sure if you can actually physically book, like sign up for it. But you will be able to in a couple of days probably. That's for January, so book soon to not be disappointed. And that'll do, I think, for the sponsors. And thanks for watching. It's been fun. It's been really fun. You know, there's been the interaction, the questions, the new moon in Scorpio from 𝗏𝗏. It's all been good stuff. Wonderful. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, having fun, not taking things too seriously, I hope, and sharing, creating, sharing, learning, spreading the good vibes. That's what's important. So take care, everybody. Thanks for being part of my creative universe, and thanks for letting me be part of yours. That's become my catchphrase. Michael Neal always says, well, at the beginning he says good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and at the end he says something like happy creating or something, learn lots, learn heaps, and have a good day, something like that. And I say, thanks for being part of my creative universe and for letting me be part of yours. I look forward to seeing your creations in the next few days, and your contributions. And that's about 2 hours. I did 2 hours. Incredible. I thought I was only going to make half an hour or so. And it's thanks to you inspiring me by being there, by commenting and stuff. So have great creative weeks, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon, starting from tomorrow, if you want to join me on the Zoom call tomorrow at about probably about 8 o'clock. Bye for now. Bye for now. Sleep well. I'm gonna.